Hello, this is Hassan Akhtar, and today we are going to talk about how to give a perfect, impressive introduction in the interview. This is going to be a very important video. You stick to it until the last, I promise. To sound appealing and interesting and promising in the interview is not very difficult, it's just a little tricky. You need to understand the trick. One by one, step by step, we're going to discuss how you can sound interesting and appealing and promising. Number one, your name. Now you have to tell them your name in a beautiful, interesting way. Although your name is not interesting, for example, let's say, but you can make it an interesting one. For example, my name is Hassan Akhtar. Well, sir, you're telling them, my name is Hassan Akhtar, but my friends and family call me Hasi, and I like about it. Okay? Remember, never ever to miss the smile on your face. Wear a beautiful romantic smile all the time you are in front of the panel. You tell them, well sir, my name is Rabia Akram, but my family and friends call me Rabi, and this is appealing, I like it. My name is Ehtasham Rahman, but it becomes a little too long, so people call me Sham for short. Okay, अब इससे कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ा, but I have an idea that you are sounding interesting. When you talk in such a way, you sound appealing and they listen to you. Now remember, there is a difference, ladies and gentlemen, when somebody is listening to you and when someone is listening to you really carefully and with interest. So you talk in such a language that sounds interesting and the panel is listening to you really with their brains on. Number two, your place, your area where you belong to. Now see, you can make it interesting too. Well sir, I was born in Sialkot, but because my father was in the police, he was an officer in the police, so he kept on transferring from one place to another and he took my family with him. So I have an experience of living in more than 10 bigger cities of Pakistan. And I think this is a positive edge because I learned so many things. I changed a lot of schools, and in every school there were new teachers, and it was really a great experience for me. Right? You're not telling about the place, you are telling them about your experiences also, and it becomes a little interesting, if not much. Number three, your education. You tell them that I did my master's degree from the University of Education or University of Punjab or any other university, which is, I think, one of the leading universities of Pakistan. Okay, or this is, I believe, one of the really greatest universities in the country. Okay, or the university in which I studied, I believe, is one of the fantastic and really knowledge-giving universities in the country. So you make it a little interesting by adding something new which the other people want. Okay, most of the people will be telling them I did my masters from the University of Punjab. That's okay, but if you add a little spice in it, and Punjab University is no doubt the greatest university of the country. Maybe it's a second in the list, but again, in Punjab there is no other option. And remember, I think that there is particularly no need to talk about all your degrees, like I did my matriculation in 2008, and then I did my intermediate in 2010, and I did my graduation in 2012, and I did my masters. No, you only talk about your last degree. If it's an MSc, an MA or an MPhil, that's it. Okay, and although you can tell them that I am the lucky person to have all the first divisions throughout my academic career. Okay. Number four, you talk about your experience, and again you have to be a little interesting about your experience. You tell them that you have been, for example, if you're going for the job of a teacher, you have been teaching in some 3 different private schools or colleges, and that your experience was really very great, and your contact and relationship with your colleagues was just so memorable that you still remember and miss some of your colleagues and you are in contact with them. Don't talk negative or bad things about your ex-colleagues or your ex-boss. Okay, so you tell them positive things, that my experience of teaching or my experience of doing some a job in a private sector was really so great that I learned a lot of things there, and I have the experience about that. Number 5, you talk about your interests and your hobbies, and here again you have to be a little interesting. So in an appealing way you tell them about your hobbies. For example, and sir, in spite of all this education thing, I have always been in love with music, for example. Or one thing you may not know about me is that although I belong to a religious family, but since my childhood I have been in love with music. And I do believe that music is actually the food of the soul. I believe that music is the language of the human emotions and feelings, and I appreciate it. I just love it. This is my hobby. Whenever I'm free, I enjoy music. Or any other hobby, you make it interesting. You don't make it boring. Okay, I'm repeating it again and again. You speak in a way. Introduction is really very important. Okay, in the introduction they judge you, what I think. Okay, or they decide whether they are going to interview you or not. In your introduction they decide they are going to take a couple of minutes, maybe 15 or 20, or not. They are going to finish it in maybe 5 minutes, and that's okay. So make your introduction appealing, interesting, and promising by the rules I just told you. Keep working on this. That's okay, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have any trouble, you can contact me. That's it for today. See you next time.